Marlin Steel CEO Drew Greenblatt and senior writer at the Washington Examiner David Harsanyi joins us now. David, how you doing? Good to see you. We've been friends for a long time. We might have a bit of disagreement, but I humbly say no one knows how this is all going to play out. This is a big bet by President Trump. You just think he's making a bet on something he shouldn't, which is the dominance of the American economy?
Well, I think that what Batya said over there in that long clip, I don't agree with those things. Obviously, there are problems. We don't live in a utopia. When there's creative destruction, people suffer. But, we focus on that and we ignore the booming, suburbs in Texas or Florida or Nevada. We live a pretty good life in the context of the world. In fact, I think we're the best economy, in the world, a real country, meaning not Monaco or something like that. And, the prescription should be targeted. It should be China maybe or something. But this is just, on everyone. And it's not even about reciprocal trade, right? I mean, there are, I forgot how many countries, but dozens that have lower weighted tariff rates than we do. And we're still, Israel removed all their tariffs and we're still going to tariff on them. So it's protectionist policy. I think historically it's proven that it doesn't work in the long run. I'm not saying we're going to collapse. We're incredibly wealthy, but I just think it's unnecessary pain.
Still, David, I've seen Rand Paul make the argument for free trade, suggesting every partner in a voluntary trade is made out the better. But the question is whether or not we're participating in free trade. Right, Drew? I mean, we're talking about fair trade. And so what Trump's argument is we're resetting this back to free trade with everybody on an equal playing field. It's not free and fair as we sit here today, Drew.
You are absolutely correct. We're having a big challenge. Right now, we're up against a number of countries where it's wildly against the American worker. So we make wire baskets and racks in Maryland, in Indiana, and Michigan. And we compete all over the world. China, Mexico, Germany. This is an example of one of the baskets that we make right here, okay? And we ship this to England, for example. And when we ship 100 of these to England, the English government charges us Germany, I misspoke, $12,896. But if they ship 100 baskets to us, it's only $125. So we have a wildly unfair playing field. And if you want to create more middle-class jobs, if you want to pull people up from poverty and give them an opportunity with this great American economy, you have to give them a fair opportunity. And right now, it's not fair. Also, we're competing with China, where they have they despoil the environment, they subsidize the renminbi, they use slave labor against us. It's wildly unfair for the American worker.
So, David, I know you just argued for a more targeted approach to this. I also know you're an economic libertarian. You're a capitalist. Again, I've known you for a long time. I want to ask you a question that I thought President Trump asked pretty well yesterday. I do think it's a fair question. If tariffs make you poorer, why does everyone else use tariffs? Why does everyone else have high tariffs on us while we have low tariffs if they're so bad?
Well, I mean, if you look at the list of countries that have low tariffs, they're all rich countries. Sometimes there's some country thrown in there in Africa or something that doesn't have tariffs. And when you look at higher tariffs, India, China even, they're far poorer than us. Their per capita GDP is far less than ours. Why should we follow countries that are less successful than we are in bad economic policy? Makes no sense to me. Now, it is unfair. You're never going to have perfectly fair trade in the world, and everyone's going to try. I wish there were no tariffs at all. I mean, that would be best. But that's not really the argument Donald Trump's making. He's saying we're going to get rid of the income tax. He's saying that protectionism will create this country where we're completely self-sufficient and all of that. So, I mean, we keep talking about and listen, he changes his mind every day, right? But I mean, that's not what this policy is. We're not making things fairer. We're just going after everyone.
One last question to you, Drew, and this is where David and I started. It's off that clip from Batya talking about the deeper problems in the middle class. You represent the steel industry. I do think, while we are prosperous, I think you're right about that, David. We are prosperous. We have seen an economic divide, and you run a risk if you hollow out the middle class. If you deindustrialize and you don't have a working base, you have a problem, a long-term problem in your country, and I'd imagine that's what you've seen in steel, Drew.
Absolutely. 4 miles north of us is a blighted community called Sandtown. They desperately need jobs. Okay, and we have to focus on Sandtown. We should not be focusing on Shanghai. Let's protect the poor people of Sandtown. Let's give them opportunities. Let's give them a path to the middle class so they can buy a car, own a home. Let's focus on fair for the American worker. Then just give us a shot and we will whoop them every time.
Okay, I think it's an incredibly complex debate. I welcome both of your points of view. I have this debate humbly, and I think everybody should. Who knows how the decisions of literally hundreds of millions of people across the globe and 350 million here in the United States, which is what an economy is, hundreds of millions of decisions, will play out over what I think is a long-term bet.